Okay, folks, here we are out in the garage looking at my workbench. One of three workbenches, I might add. What we've got here is some of the control panels that I've made up for what's going to go on my captain's chair, full scale 1-to-1. Here are the little buttons on the console. These were precision laser cut by a friend of mine who does really good work. All I've got to do is come up with the pattern and he'll cut anything I need, and he does it at a pretty decent price. These are the old Carling switches. These are 25, 24 volt, primarily used for industrial and marine applications. These are the exact same switches that were used on the original series. They'll go in here, a whole bank of them. Each one of these will be painted different colors as the paint scheme, which I'll upload and show at the end of this video. I've also got some of the correct material here for the speaker grill. This is the exact same amplifier grill material that was used on the original series. I'm remastering the faceplate that goes on the speaker for the wall mount comm unit and or for the desk mount units and what have you. So I'll be showing that after I get that finished. And here we have some Star Trek letters that I had laser cut in the original font. They're about 3 inches long by 3/8 inch thick, and I covered them with chrome vinyl. I love this stuff. This really sets things off. I've used it in a lot of different applications. Now, besides that, I've got another tool that modelers need to know. Comes in handy for a lot of things, and that's mechanics wire. Here's some old stuff I've got wrapped around a little fragment of a 1x2. Another great thing to have around is some brass tube. These brass tubes make for great custom model stands. You run your wires through here and right into the base, and you come up with a really nice looking, firm, strong, steady mount for your model. Here's another thing I've been working on. This is roughly a 1/2 scale Enterprise dedication or commissioning plaque, however you want to say it. This I'm making up for a friend to go on his model base. Now, I made up a big one of these, full scale 1-to-1, for my buddy Steve Neal, and he mounted it right underneath his original series Enterprise. Here again is yet another example of some precision laser cutting. This I'm going to make for a 1/1000 refit base. Now, I'm selling these on occasion, but I'm not going to really go into that right now. And here we have the original series Romulan Insignia model base, which I'm making up for my 1/350th Romulan bird of prey. I've still got a little sanding and some putty work, but so far it's looking pretty good. I had the parts, well, I scratch built the parts at first, and I wasn't exactly happy with them. I had the pattern, so I went ahead and I had my friend laser cut some 3/8 acrylic. I made a mold, and these are all resin parts except for the center, which is the original piece of acrylic. And here we have a model that just came in today. I bought this off of eBay for a penny. All I had to pay was the shipping. Now, I bought this for one reason and one reason only: to pull it apart and rebuild it. Now, I saw this kit online for about $35, $40. And looking at it, you see there's not a whole lot to it. So when I ran across this one for sale for a penny, I thought I couldn't lose. All I've got to do is clean this up, sand it, repaint it, add some lights, and I'm good to go. Now, here I've set out some alternate methods of lighting. Okay, these are cheap, fast, down and dirty, easy ways of lighting. As you can see here, you can pull this apart, which I've done. I'll have to show that another time. Pulled one of these apart, stuffed it in the cell, rewired the wiring, bam. Now, the fluorescents are not going to last as long as the LEDs, and there are a whole lot of options for LED lighting. Here's one. You can buy about a dozen of these for $1 a piece at the dollar store. And all you have to do, you see there's 3 batteries in there. All you have to do is run them all in parallel, use the existing current limiting resistor, get a larger 3-pack battery holder, and put your C or D cell batteries or what have you. All you really need for effective lighting for most of these ships is a 1 flasher and some always on white lights. I'll get into more of that later. Right here, this is a 120 volt light bulb. Got it on sale, $5. I could shove this in the engineering section or the upper primary hall of about half of the decent sized Star Trek models, and there you go. If you want to add a little extra, run some fiber optics right to the light. This thing's going to last for years, 20,000 hours average life. So that's some more simple lighting. Now, almost everyone knows that every starship in Star Trek has blue nacelles and red impulse or orange impulse. Now, if I want to run just super bright white LEDs, I've got the option to use this stuff as filter material to filter my light. So I get the colors that I need without having to make sure that I'm running different LEDs at different voltages and I'm not overrunning the current on a circuit so that it doesn't last or it breaks down. This, you've got one set of lights and a flasher, and this filter material, you can stack this filter material up in layers to get the look that you're looking for, the deep rich blues or the deep rich reds. $5 a piece, I think, something like that at Michael's. Now here we have a card model of Liberty Prime out of the video game Fallout. Now I pulled the model out of Fallout, converted it, and used Pepakura to create this model. Now this model looked really good, and I went over and redid the paint in several different layers, but unfortunately it was subjected to heat and humidity, and it started splitting and cracking. At any rate, this is a similar model that I only made with white paper, okay, but I started covering it with layers of Bondo to turn it into a studio scale prop or 1/2 studio scale, whatever. Now, I've used card models a lot, and there's been a lot of people that scoff at it. But in the last 6-7 years, there have been a lot of people take those simple card models and with fiberglass and Bondo and white resin, turned them into full-scale armors and outfits and starships and you name it. So let the scoffers scoff and let the laughers laugh. I'm still laughing. Now, here we have a few more items that every modeler should have in their repertoire or workbench, what have you. You absolutely have to have a respirator if you're going to be working with fiberglass and Bondo or any of the toxic putties or resins. Trust me, this will save your lungs and your heart and everything else. Another thing here, rotary sander, orbital sander, absolutely awesome tool. I used to do all my sanding by hand with a sanding block or just with my hands, and I got this orbital sander and I love it. Love it. Now here's another tool every modeler should have, a Dremel. A Dremel's great for cutting, sculpting, sanding, buffing, you name it. There's 1,001 uses for a Dremel, and every modeler worth his salt should have at least one. I've got two because this cheap POS, the switch broke on it. So I've got to pull it apart and rewire it. In the meantime, I'll just use it as it is and use the new one. Another good thing to have, 5-minute epoxy. This is no muss, no fuss, 1-to-1 mixture. You mix it up real good, put it where you need it, hold it in place or tape it or clamp it, and in 5 minutes this stuff is set up and good to go. Okay, here we have a few more items that every modeler should have and stock up on. Some little 2-inch brushes, disposable. I don't know, they're like 89 cents a piece. You can get them cheaper, buy them by the dozen. These come in great for resin work, fiberglass work, you name it. handy dandy. You're not worried about it. It didn't cost $5, so you toss it in a can when you're done. 400 grit, wet dry, professional grade sandpaper. Awesome stuff. Must have. And these little blister packs in plastic. Okay, this stuff is in almost everything you buy nowadays, and it comes in varying grades. Most of it's PETG, but you can use this stuff to cut up parts for scratch building without having to go pay a couple of dollars for a sheet of evergreen styrene. Now here's another interesting little item that I like to use on occasion, and it's, yes boys and girls, Plato. Plato, you can mix up your Plato, make little one-off casts for parts you only need one of. It's cheap, it's handy, and you don't care about keeping it around. You just throw it in a can, or save it, put it in a vacuum sealed container, whatever. This stuff comes in real handy sometimes. And here we have some more handy dandy stuff. Now I bought a couple of these at the dollar store, and look at what you get. Toenail clippers or fingernail clippers. You can use these to trim parts off a sprue. Little bitty scissors for cutting small items. Tweezers for picking up small parts. Little nail files for cutting the edges off of stuff or trimming up where you cut your piece out of the sprue. You can use the corner of this or here to push your masking tape down into wherever you're going to mask before you cut it off with an X-Acto. $2 worth of stuff there, maybe $3. I'll probably use every bit of it for the next 10-20 years. And here we go with some more blister packs. Blister packs of various sizes and shapes, dimensions, what have you. You can use these for any number of things, keeping small parts in them, making shapes or designs for a scratch build. Like this could be painted up to look like an electrical panel inside Grandpa Munster's cave or den, what have you, castle. Anyway, these things always come in handy. I keep all of them. I got about a trash bag full of these for various different things. The patterns are handy. They're great for scratch building and just anything you can use to use your mind to create something new with. Now here's something a lot of people don't think of. My wife has a propensity to buy these little garden solar powered lights. Okay, well they don't last too long sometimes, or the batteries go dead in them. And instead of replacing the battery, she'll buy new ones. So I collect up all the ones that she doesn't use or throws away, and these can be run in parallel with rechargeable batteries, and they can run your entire starship free of cost. The only thing you got to do is make sure the batteries are where you can access them to replace them later on. All your circuitry's right there, and maybe in a future video I'll do a demonstration showing exactly how to use these so you don't even have to plug your model into the wall. Now here's something that you can't do without. Primer. Now I buy the cheap primer at Walmart, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. $1.19 a can, and it works great. Works just like any other primer. It's got a nice leveling part of it to where it'll smooth surfaces. You hit your model with a coat or two of this flat gray primer, sand it with 400, 600 grit sandpaper, and boom, you're ready to go for your base coat. And if you go buy primer at, I don't know, the parts store or Home Depot, you're talking about $3 or $4, $5 a can. I just as soon use this stuff. It works perfectly. Here we have a couple more items that are going to come in handy for your modeling needs. These little bitty emery boards. You can get a whole thing full of these for $1, again, at the dollar store. You can use these for sanding in tight corners, cleaning off the edges of where your sprue was, etc. $1 for a whole box of these. Now this, Tango Papa decal paper. Okay? This is for water slide decals. All you do is you do your graphics in Photoshop or what have you. Size it and scale it to what you need it for. Print it up on a laser printer. Seal it with clear lacquer, clear acrylic lacquer. Let it dry and you're ready to make your own decals. You just made your own decals. You can do damaged bits for starships or rust or registry, what have you. I just got this batch from Tango Papa and I'm getting ready to print up a whole boatload of decals. I also do vinyl decals, rub-on decals. So if any of you guys out there need custom decals, just let me know.